Hello folks, and welcome back to another episode of AI Appalachian Intelligence. We are recording today from our camper studio on beautiful Pleasure Drive. Your hosts for today are Justin Kaiser,
Ryan Rattler.
Absolutely. And today we have another treat. We actually have our camera set up, and we are not only speaking to a crowd of listeners, we are now speaking to a crowd of viewers as well. We will be uploading this episode onto any podcast platform that you may listen to, and also to YouTube. So that's a new aspect of this show that I think that we're going to enjoy, definitely. And I'm sure that hopefully others enjoy that aspect as well. Today we have an absolutely super interesting episode for you guys. At least I think it's super interesting.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. One more thing we want to point out is we're going to be dropping episodes every 2 weeks rather than weekly now because we're both family men.
Yeah.
We both have full-time jobs, children, wives, responsibilities. And it takes a long time for Justin to do this editing and everything on the audio side of it. Turns out the video side of it was pretty easy. And I'm glad I chose it.
yeah, you definitely picked the better of the two there.
Literally on break time, I was like, hey, I think I'll set us up a YouTube channel. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, hey man, YouTube channel's ready.
Yeah.
I'm bushed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the audio side of it took me like a week to even figure out how to start editing. So, you know, he definitely picked the easy end of that deal, which is cool, you know. And that's kind of like we talked about before. Anybody that's out there that is listening, that wants to be a part of this and wants to make a team out of it, it can only make it bigger and better, because it does take a lot of time. And we had said previously that we wanted to drop an episode weekly. I would still love to be able to do that, but it's just a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do for two guys with a full-time job that are family men, and we love our families. We're never going to make this a number one priority over spending time with our families. You know, we do this for fun. This is a hobby. We hope that we enjoy it. We hope that you guys enjoy it, and we hope that you just turn those notifications on wherever you listen to this podcast at, and whenever we do drop, it's there. You know it, and hopefully absence will make the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
That's what they say anyway.
Just keep them wanting more. Keep them wanting more.
Yeah.
That's whether they want it or not. We're going to put it out there.
We're going to keep delivering regardless.
Just not as much now.
Yeah. But, I mean, we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get back to a weekly play.
Absolutely. It's going to keep getting better. We'll get back to it weekly. We'll get to where, you know, this is not a chore to have to do, but it's just fun, and it's, you know, boom, in a little while it's done and ready to go.
The taping of these episodes, talking about these subjects, that's what's fun to me.
Yeah.
And now that people get to see how we're going to react to it, you're welcome, you two.
You are welcome.
I don't know how else to put it, but just wait. So, go ahead. Now, this is a topic Justin has been into for a while.
Yeah, this is a topic that I've really been interested with for probably a couple years now. And today we're going to be talking about missing 411. And for anyone that doesn't know what missing 411 is, it is a it's
lack of information.
Yeah, kind of. Missing 411. It was originally the title and all the research and everything that goes into this missing 411 title comes from David Pollard. David Pollard was in law enforcement for 20 plus years. He has worked with the FBI on certain missing persons cases. But what he did was he started researching and generating certain details about certain missing persons cases that, you know, certain classifications had to meet these things to classify it as a missing 411 situation. So some of these details, and you know, the man David Pollard, before we ever even get started, he gets a lot of negativity, you know, negative press toward him because he's like big and affiliated with MUFON, which is, you know, the UFO network. He is a kind of a leader in the Bigfoot field, which, you know, these are things that he, you know, believes are possibilities. But it's not like David Paulides comes out there and says, "Oh, all these people are missing because a UFO took them," or, you know, they come and encountered a Bigfoot and he took them. Now, has he said that that's not the case? No, he hasn't. But it hasn't been one of those things, well, this is definitely it. But certain things that has to be met for the classification of missing 411. Like I said, David Paulides is the man that spearheads all this. And one of the things, and one of the main things, is these missing person cases usually happen in or around national parks. That's one of the things that has to be there for it to be considered a missing 411 case.
And the government's doing it.
Well, it's not really that the government is doing it or that anybody believes that, but the information that is there, there's not really a great database kept for people that go missing in these national parks. You know, they do put it out there, and they will say that yeah, these people are missing. But like David Paulides has had to spend a fortune just to get the government to release this information to him. You know, for them to process each case is like hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars for them just to release the information out there, which is insane to me. Like, if we have missing people, why wouldn't everybody just try to get on board and get the proper agencies in there and try to find these people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, being primarily in or around national parks, K9 usually can't pick up the scent from the outset to, you know, all throughout the entire process. K9 will not be able to pick up the scent of the missing person. Weather events impacts the search, which I think is great. Now, look, I understand national parks and the places that they are, you know, depending on certain times of the year, there are going to be weather events, you know,
yes,
obviously. But in a lot of these cases, you know, a severe thunderstorm, a snowstorm, ice storm, you know, a lot of things will come up with the onset of these searches that, you know, will either halt the searches for a few days or make them really hard to get out there and get people out there to be searching. The person's body, when it does turn up, because, you know, these cases aren't always people that are never found. A lot of these cases are, you know, bodies are found, but when they are found, it's strange. You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the bodies, when they are found, they turn up around bodies of water and in places that are previously searched.
Now, that was one thing I noticed looking into it, was always near a lake or something like that.
Yeah. Which is, it's crazy because, you know, one of the theories that are out there is that there's a certain group, which I haven't done a whole lot of studying and research into these people. I plan to down the road. I actually just heard this name a couple days ago, with the smiley face killers. It's as far as I can figure, it's a group, like a collective, international even group of serial killers that come together and they take people from, you know, sometimes national parks, and they do these things kind of working in a collective cabal type of organization. But, you know, that, like I said, that's one of the theories for these people. But bodies aren't always found. And if I'm a serial killer and I kill somebody, why would I go through the trouble or risk getting caught by taking these bodies back out to a place that's been previously searched. You know, if I know that a search is going on every single day, why would I risk taking a body back from where I murdered somebody?
Well, that's kind of genius, though, actually.
Well, it would be.
They've already searched this large area, now they're over in this other large area. I'm just going to take her right back over here. And...
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't get caught, that would be, it would be genius. But I mean, I guess that it is plausible and possible, but I just know I wouldn't do it. There's no way that I would do it, me personally.
That's why it would never be a great series.
I guess so.
Do they have sign-ups, or
I don't know.
how do you get in on that?
Maybe. I wonder like what that interview process is like.
Scary.
Like you gotta get on the dark web to be like, hey, smiley face killers. Hey guys.
Come introduce yourself, sir. My name's Cole.
Yeah, I don't know what the interview process would look like.
I don't know.
I'm kind of interested now, though. I'm kind of interested to see what that's like.
Yeah.
Another one of the crazy descriptions of these cases are pieces of clothing will go missing, either off of the bodies or they're found without a body. I know a couple cases that I've read talk about how the body was found by a body of water, you know, lake, river, stream, whatever, and the clothes, the person be completely in the nude, but their clothes were neatly stacked, you know, hundreds of feet away. I mean, that's just another one of those details, like, why? You know, who would take the time, if somebody is placing this body, who would take the time to, you know, neatly fold their laundry and place it shortly by? Because
psychopath.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Psychopath.
Because you know DNA has got to be all over these clothes, or you would think. I mean, if you know that's out there, that the technology or the advancements that we have in forensics now, like I would be scared to death to just neatly fold these clothes and put it beside a body that I've laid in a stream to get rid of all the evidence from the body. Like, what sense does that make?
It would be. I get random nosebleeds. It'd be my life. I'd be like, you know, shave my head, shave my face, and I'm sitting here folding these clothes, just get a nosebleed.
All over the body, all over everything.
I gotta wash everything again. This is great.
Well, at least you got a stream right there.
Yeah.
You know, just a quick washing and you're all good.
It would be cold though.
It would be cold. I'm sure it would be
that
cold.
And you'd be busted. You wouldn't be able to get it all off the ground.
No, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying, dude. Even for a psychopath, even for, you know, just a straight up sociopathic serial killer, like, a lot of these details, man, are just, why risk it? Why risk it? And for all these to happen and nobody to ever be prosecuted. You know, some people have to slip at some point, especially in the middle of a search where hundreds of people are searching. You know, you would think.
You would think. And if you keep hearing that noise, it's because my dumb ass keeps hitting this blind behind us and rattling against the window. So I'm going to sit still for a minute.
Look,
let Justin bring out our first guest here, or topic.
Our first, yeah. We will get to guests eventually.
We will get to guests. Listen, Bill Burr, if you watch this on YouTube,
Yeah.
Please, you are my favorite comedian in the whole world. Please come be on our podcast. We won't talk crazy that day. And if we do, I'll tell you what, I'll set it up. Won't let Justin know you're coming. Let him get on his crazy kick. And you just lay into him.
We are going to start opening up a lot more of Justin's crazy corner. We may even do it today.
Oh, I guarantee you it's coming. There will be some points here where we're going to go, my God.
It's all too weird, man. It's all too weird, okay?
Now, some of this stuff, I have to admit, it is crazy.
Higher forces, whether, I don't know, higher forces have to be involved. I won't even get into that yet. We'll save Justin's crazy corner for a little while later.
Are we going with the disguised?
Maybe.
Or police disguised?
Maybe. I mean, that's a theory that is out there.
Yeah.
Not that I believe it per se, but it is a theory that is out there. So, I mean, we may get there. I don't know. We'll just have to see where this goes.
We'll just have to
See where it goes.
I'm sure it's nowhere crazy.
No, not at all. The typical time of these people going missing is the late afternoon or early evening. So, right around that dusk area, that dusk time of the day is when a lot of these people will go missing.
I feel like if I was going to kidnap someone,
It'd be a good time to do it.
don't want to get up early.
Well, I can't see a lick at dusk. So, you know, if I'm a witness or somebody that's out there that's trying to maybe possibly, if I'm out there and I'm a witness, I ain't seeing anything. I can't see a lick at dusk. Driving, it kills me. Dusk. It's only dusk. I don't know why.
Yeah, but I feel like that would be the time I would do it if I was going to kidnap someone.
I mean, I would probably do it like super late at night, early in the morning when, you know, crowds are down. But you're still talking national parks. You know, you would think that people are still going to be, like most of them have closing times, you know, like 10, 11 o'clock at night. You know, why not sneak in after that? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Here's a weird one, super weird one, and I have no idea what it means. These bodies are typically found, when bodies are found, they are typically found around large deposits of granite. What do you have for me there?
I don't know.
Because I don't have a clue.
I don't know what they're trying to tie in right there. That seems like it may be one of those crazy theories they're trying to go into.
Maybe. But it's a detail that's there enough that the sources that I was going to research this, you know, that was a leading detail. So, I mean, it's weird. It's common enough that they decided, well, this we need to put that in there for whatever reason. I don't know, but I don't. That's a random point or fact to me that I don't understand.
It's very random.
And then the last real detail on these things is there's usually, well, I wouldn't say usually, but in a lot of these cases, there is a point of separation from the person that ends up going missing. There's a point of separation from a group that they were with. And by that, there's one case that I read. This guy was going on a hike from a camping spot with a group of like 4 or 5 of his buddies. They take off on this hike. You know, he gets maybe a quarter of a mile and decides that, well, he just starts feeling awful. Just like this overpowering sense of just illness comes over him. His head starts busting. And he's like, hey guys, I'm heading back to the campsite. You know, I gotta go. I'm not up for this hike. So he goes back to the campsite. The other group goes hiking, comes back, dude's gone. Never found his body again. I have no idea, no trace. So it's situations like that. Like one of the stories that we're going to get into of the skier. You know, he was with his buddy. They were skiing.
Yeah.
He says, hey, I'm going to go hit one more run. Takes the ski lift. The ski lift comes back, but, you know,
He never does.
he's not on it. And he eventually turns up, but in some super weird circumstances. So, I mean, it's just weird how...
Now, the hiker could have just not wanted to be found again.
Wow, yeah, exactly.
He may have had himself a mistress or anything could happen.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, see, and that's the thing that I think that we have to look at for, you know, a lot of these cases where the bodies aren't found. You know, people go missing because they don't want to be found.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. I understand that side of it. But a lot of these cases are kids. You know, what kid just decides, I mean, unless, you know, it's a terrible home situation or you know, possible abuse that's involved or whatever. You know, what kid just decides, I ain't going back. You know, I'm disappearing. I'm going to take care of myself out here in the wilderness. Hopefully I'll find somebody that comes along and will pick me up and take care of me. You know, I don't see that happening a lot.
No. Plus, it'd be my luck, the guys would be in the free candy van. They'd be the ones to find me. Like, oh my goodness, let's help you.
The situation just went from bad to worse.
Yep. Well, I was better off getting my ass kicked all the time than this.
Yeah, for real. But I don't know, dude. It's just a lot of crazy details that are out there. And for me, it's hard. Some of these stories that we're going to get into, it's really, really hard to understand how and why. Now, a couple of them, you know, maybe there are explanations behind, but then others are just, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am more open to supernatural happenings after listening to the scores of Detroit-Arizona game.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of football, my Colts got a big win last night.
And Green Bay doesn't come on until 23 more minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap this up first. But, but they're going to win today. I think it's Baltimore they're playing, and Lamar Jackson's out.
Yeah, a lot of Baltimore's out.
And we got 2 or 3 of our starters on defense back.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless this is just one of those weekends.
It may be.
Where the teams
I mean,
do not expect to win.
Arizona's losing bad to the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
I mean,
win Lions.
Yeah, it may be one of those weekends. I mean, the Colts did just beat the Patriots for the first time since 2009.
The Colts beat the Patriots. Detroit's about to beat Arizona. I don't know. Ezekiel Elliott scored a touchdown. I mean, he's been nuts.
That's crazier than any of these cases.
That's crazier than Detroit beating Arizona because that dude hasn't done. Tony Pollard has been like fantasy gurus that sit and talk about it, players. They've been talking about their confidence in Tony Pollard.
Yeah, over Zeke.
Over Zeke.
Yeah, who is making like $138 bajillion a year.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got that contract, he just decided, you know what, I'm not playing ball anymore.
Every player I've ever watched, except for Aaron Rodgers, that gets that money.
Yep.
The next year, they're not worth anything.
Yep, I agree. 100%. Anyway, back to missing persons. Sorry, we had to take a little football sidetrack there.
It's Sunday, folks.
It is Sunday. Sunday.
This week is Christmas.
It is Christmas week. Merry Christmas to all of our listeners and viewers out there.
Merry Christmas, guys. I told my kids this morning that I had to work during Christmas. They still believe that. So when they open a bunch of crappy gifts, but I walk in, they're like, "Oh, Dad, you didn't have to work. What the hell is this?"
Yeah, who got these presents, Dad? Where did this come from?
Your mother does the shopping.
Dude, Connor one year, he was really small. Probably 4 or 5 years old. You know, and I've always tried to instill in my kids, you know, it's not about what it is. It's you know, let's be grateful for whatever the present is. For whatever we get in life, let's be grateful for it. Because, dude, they've got everything they could ever want. I mean, they're blessed and spoiled. But one year, Connor was 4 or 5 years old, and he had clothes, and he opened clothes, like 4 or 5 presents, you know, in a row. And he opens the last one, picks it up, and just slings it over in the corner. He said, "Mom, you're ruining Christmas." And, dude, oh my goodness, I was so mad. He's never done it again. He's never made that statement again. Let's just say that. But my goodness, thinking back, it was hilarious. I mean, thinking back on it now,
It definitely feels like something Riley would go into.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Dude,
if I open one more set of clothes, I'm leaving.
Riley is a whole different... Oh, she's a different breed.
She was dead set that I wasn't coming out here. I was standing there with her.
Well, right before I came back out here, she said, make sure before Ryan goes, he comes back in and tells me bye and gives me lovin's. And I said, okay, I'll make sure to tell him. And she said, just tell him I love him. As I was going out the door was closing. Tell Ryan I love him. She does, man. She loves, you know, endlessly. But, oh my goodness, she has to balance out the meanness.
She has to be that cute to get away with what she gets away with.
Yeah, she really does. She really does. Okay, so we are going to get in to some of these cases. Okay?
Oh, and one more thing. When I said missing 411 was a lack of information, that's an old school dad joke I just made up, by the way. 411 is information.
Right.
Okay.
I got it.
It seemed like you did.
I understand.
And now you've made me explain it. I'm a little upset.
No, I understood it. I understood it. A lack of information. Missing 411. A lack of information.
You just explained it again, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to apologize.
Just apologize for it and don't ever let it happen again. How about we just do that?
Let's start a new revelation.
Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to read through a couple of these cases to the best of my ability because I just screenshotted them, so it may kind of run together and be a little weird.
I may repeat.
We are not research professionals.
No.
We're just doing the best we can do here to have a good episode. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about, and we did with like, there's 1,000+ cases out there. What we did was took we picked 2 or 3, 3 or 4 stories, or not stories, but accounts from these missing 411 cases to read the account and then kind of talk about, what we think may have happened. So this first one, excuse me. In February 1977, a 24-year-old man named Stephen Kubaki was cross-country skiing through the snow near Lake Michigan. Once he reached the edge of the lake, he took his skis off to sit down and rest. When he got up to leave, his own tracks were gone and he became lost. The last thing he remembers was walking through the snow, feeling numb and exhausted. He blacked out. In the blink of an eye, it was spring. He was lying in a grassy field in the middle of a forest, wearing clothes that weren't his. Sitting next to him was a stranger's backpack containing running shoes and glasses that did not belong to him either. He hiked to the nearest town and asked a local resident where he was. They told him he was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 700 miles away from where he had been skiing. His aunt and father lived in Pittsfield, so he knocked on his aunt's door. His family was in shock, hugging him and asking where he had been. Kubaki had been missing for 14 months. When Kubaki had first gone missing, the search team found his poles and skis at the edge of the lake. There was only one set of his footprints leading toward the water, but none walking away. They could only assume he drowned himself in the freezing lake. He had been missing for so long, everyone assumed he must be dead. The official explanation is that he had amnesia and that he was wandering in a fugue state. But even doctors are baffled by this case. It's incredibly rare for someone to lose their memory of such a large chunk of time, and it still leaves so many unanswered questions. His story was included in a psychology case study in a book about amnesia, but even experts have been unable to figure out what actually happened. Kubaki had already earned a degree in linguistics before he went missing, but he was so fascinated by his own case that he went on to earn his PhD in psychology. He wanted answers about his own disappearance, and yet he still couldn't find them. Solving the mystery of his missing ear became an obsession, and he went on to publish a book called Meta-mathematical foundations of existence. Gödel, quantum, God, and beyond. In it, he writes about the possibility of alternate universes. So, let's talk about that one for a minute. Let's talk about that one.
There's no other explanation. Bigfoot came through dark matter, which is the doors to the other realms. There's some funnel ghost friends with him.
Maybe.
They created a diversion while Bigfoot snatched me up. Took me into that alternate universe.
Maybe it was a portal. Maybe it was a portal. Maybe somehow at the edge of that lake, he encountered a portal because we're getting there quick. We're getting there super quick.
It's faster than I can handle.
A lot of these cases, David Pollard has come across that these are super intelligent people. You know, in a lot of these cases, I'm not saying all, but in a lot of these cases, these people are super intelligent and of German descent. Okay?
Kubaki?
I don't know. I didn't look up the origin of the name.
Kubaki.
It's Kubaki. It's got to be something.
It's Polish.
Well, I mean, Germany invaded Poland. There got to be some breeding going on there somewhere.
I don't think they're allowed to.
I'm just saying this because I'm trying to get a
No,
rise.
the Nazis followed all the rules.
I'm trying to get a rise out of Ryan because one of the theories that I heard while listening to all this or researching all this was that these people were intelligent and of German descent because the spirits of the Third Reich of Nazi Germany were coming back and had codes to these portals in and around national parks, and they were taking these people to further the advancement of the Third Reich in spiritual form.
You see what I gotta do with it? You see? You see the level of crazy I have to come back up against? It's a very pitch disgust. That means piss off, ghost. And German. Anywho. Oh, and for my nephew, so I go to my sister's, pick up the camera and everything.
Yeah.
And my nephew comes over and I said, hey, you watch YouTube? Me and my buddy are going to be on YouTube. He goes, yeah? I was like, yeah. I don't think your mom will let you watch it because I'm going to say cuss words. He goes, you better not. I was like, yep, I'm going to say boo hockey. He goes, what's boo hockey? I'm like, it's the polite way to say bullshit. My mom wasn't happy. She's like, he's going to go around saying that now. I'm like, I hope so.
Oh, boo hockey, Mom. I'm not doing it.
You'd have to hear his laugh. He's got one of these little rotten laughs, and every time I'd say it, he'd laugh like that, and then...
Like just an infectious kind of laugh.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one you can just tell that kid's rotten.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story.
But back to the subject at hand. I can't bring myself to believe that the spirit of dead Nazis.
Well, look, just for the record, I don't believe that either. I'm just putting it out there. That's one of the theories that I did come
Take that one
across.
off the table. There's,
You sure?
that is one of the theories out there, but it's not even possible. So, unless we're going back to the whole, which superhero was battling the evil Germans all the time? Captain America.
Captain America, yeah. But that was set in Nazi Germany times. So
It became modern day because they figured out.
well, yeah, Hydra.
They just had to keep it going.
I mean, technically, if you really want to get to a theory that I believe, honestly,
Hitler made it to South America.
well, yeah, I do believe that. But I believe that Germany lost the war, okay? But I don't necessarily believe that the Nazis lost the war, if that makes sense. Because what happened? One of the first things that happened, once Germany lost that war, what did the U.S. and Russia start doing right off the bat? Let's start recruiting some of these top scientists from Nazi Germany. We won't try them for anything. We'll give them a full pardon, and we'll let them, I don't know, maybe like Start NASA?
We got space first. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Russia can't recruit like you.
We totally won that draft.
Yeah.
We won that. We got an A on that draft. Russia got a solid C plus.
Yeah.
C plus. Well, Soviet Union, I guess.
Shitty recruiting.
Yeah. But see, that's my theory. Like a lot of the organizations throughout the world, the people that began those are of Nazi origins. And they were never tried. Never tried. Everything was pardoned. And I'm talking people that were like way, way up there in the ranks of Nazi Germany. That we just decided, well, you may be able to help us, so just come on over. Just come on over. Yeah, I don't... Germany lost the war. Oops. The Nazis didn't lose the war. That's just my personal opinion on that one.
That's a good point. Maybe we'll do a podcast about it.
We could.
Oh, wait, we're recording now.
Seeing as we, see, we're talking missing 411. But seeing as we do our own podcast, I mean, all topics are possible.
Yeah. It's like, when I was over there at Mom and Dad's, Mom was like, can you say that? I was like, say whatever the hell I want.
This is my podcast.
It's mine and Justice podcast, unless Justice is like, nope, shut it down. Shut it down, don't say that. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want.
Okay, back to this case. All right, back to this account. So, the dude is skiing. All right, he goes to the edge of this frozen lake. I'm just paraphrasing it and throwing it back out there. He goes to the edge of this frozen lake. He takes his skis off, right? Sits down, starts to rest, and the next thing he knows, he wakes up in this field with somebody else's clothes, somebody else's glasses, somebody else's backpack, and the nearest town to him is the town where his aunt and dad live. Correct?
700 miles from where he
700 miles. But it had been 14 months.
14 months later.
So that's my thing. Like, for me, you know, I could believe, okay, this dude just... But here's the thing that it said, too. There were no tracks.
No.
There were only tracks leading to the edge of that frozen lake. No other tracks. None leading away. None leading across the lake. No other tracks were found at all.
Well, I thought, now if they found tracks going into where he was, how did he lose his own tracks? When he got up, he said his tracks were covered back up. He couldn't see them, so he became lost.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
How did they follow tracks in there?
I don't know. That's a good
Solve
question.
that one.
Let me go back. Let me go back.
Next case, solved that one.
Oh, yeah, when he got up to leave, his own tracks were gone, and he became lost. That's right. The last thing he remembers was walking through the snow, feeling numb and exhausted, and then he blacked out. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was wrong. I was wrong on that one. So, nobody came in to try to find tracks. He just lost his own tracks.
Yeah, but they found his poles and everything. Did they
did.
talk about tracks then?
They did. No. They... It doesn't say. Oh, no. When Kubaki had first gone missing, the search team found his poles and ski. You remember this way better than I did, and I read it. The search team found his poles and skis at the edge of the lake. Okay, so there you go. So they found... Oh,
they didn't say they followed tracks to find them.
No,
but...
they just found his poles and skis at the edge of the lake.
And looking into life insurance possibilities, how long does a person have to be gone for the family can cash in? It turns out it's like 5 to 7 years.
Really?
Unless it was different back then.
So that wouldn't be a factor.
No, shouldn't be. They should. I don't think you're able to claim a life insurance policy on a missing person. You would need a body.
But here's my thing, like with this dude, you know, not even, like I don't even think that it really matters what anybody else believes, because this guy rearranged his entire life to try to understand what happened to him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, he already had a degree in linguistics. He must have had a decent job because, number one, he was skiing. And I don't know if you've ever been skiing before or not, but it's not cheap. Like,
well, it's cross-country skiing.
Exactly.
So,
just the equipment alone is, even if you rent it, There ain't some, you know, your average low-class, in-poverty Joe Blow going to wake up one Saturday morning and say, well, you know what, I'm just going to go rent some skiing equipment and go skiing.
Have you driven by one of the local trailer parks around here and see the Escalades parked at these dumps?
Those aren't called
that theory out.
Those aren't called trailers. Those are called meth labs. They have a new name around here.
Free candy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but this dude decided to go back, get a PhD in psychology, and then writes a book entertaining the possibility of alternate universes just to try to understand what happened to him.
I feel like amnesia, but
14 months?
14 months.
Over a year?
And then somehow ending up in the same town as your aunt and your dad.
And that's another weird part. Like, to me, on the outside looking in, with all the other details, what is that? Without all the other details, you know, you could say, well, the dude just went missing for a while. He decided, okay, I'm coming back to where where I have some family. You know, I could see that part of it. But when you throw everything else in there, all these other details, like, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It seems like he legit wants to know what happened.
Yeah. I mean, he wrote a book trying to figure out what happened to him.
Well, I don't know.
It's nuts.
Maybe we can go to that spot on the lake, see if we can enter that portal.
So we can jump into a...
demon virus, though.
Yeah, if we're gone for 14 months, we're fired. For sure. We better not do that.
They would make up rumors about us being gang lovers and stuff.
Yeah, they already
They ran away together.
Those rumors are there anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I knew it.
Doesn't really matter. They went to that lake and just decided to be together forever.
I bet they swam off into the sunset.
Okay, so if you had just one take, you've cracked this case, boom, you're writing a narrative of explaining this away. What is it? And go.
I'd have to go with amnesia, or that's the most logical explanation to me. Amnesia, something, or the other most logical explanation is
Nazi portal ghosts.
exactly. I mean,
no. Oh, I thought we were on something.
The whole thing's made up. It could be a lie. It could be, and you know, it could be something that's so irrelevant to other people, but it was like, to his family it was an important thing, and nobody is any the wiser about what happened while he was missing.
Yeah.
And just having to show up here with this crazy ass story about waking up in a field.
Maybe.
Summer Moon was there from our last podcast, remember? We talked about her.
Summer Moon.
Sunflower, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Summer Moon was the little girl we were talking about.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about. Yeah.
Summer Moon is missing. We need to find
Summer
her.
Moon, Utah Wells, I
Yes.
think. And we do need to find her. That's been going on for 6 months now?
6 months.
Something like that.
Poor little girl.
That's a local kind of thing. And I've got my own theories on that one too, and they're not good.
No.
They're not
I
good.
do too. And I don't want to judge a book by its cover per se, but it's kind of just the details
Yeah.
of the story is kind of, you're hoping for the best.
And that's the thing, dude. We do have, quite a few local missing persons cases. Now, I wouldn't say that they're all in and around national parks. Well, Jefferson National Forest.
Yeah, that runs all the way. Jesus, I think that runs down North Carolina towards Georgia.
Yeah, that's still federally protected and preserved property. So, what would make that any different than a national park?
I guess it wouldn't. Do we have national parks on the eastern seaboard?
don't know.
It's the, what's in Florida? The Everglades? Is that a national park?
I don't know. I would have to look that up and see.
I think it is.
I don't really know.
But yeah, we do actually have in this area, I mean, surrounding Tri-City area, Tri-State, quadruple state?
Yeah, probably quadruple state.
We're like West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee's almost all the same distance.
Well, and North Carolina.
And North Carolina.
So, what's 5? Quad. Those tres, cuatro, cinco, sink. A sink. I don't know. But no, we do have some local missing person cases. One actually was a boss that you used to work for, right?
Yes. The gentleman, I don't want to say any names because I'm friends with their family.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So, and I don't know that they would appreciate it. But, yes, I worked with a gentleman in a mine. He was pretty well up there. Supposed to go on a hunting trip and has never been found again. And that's been a few years now.
I wonder if that wouldn't have been Jefferson National Forest over that way, would it?
No, I think that's mostly private property in the city.
Yeah. And then we have another lady that's really, really local. She's been missing for, and again, I don't want to mention any names just because of, it may be some sensitive material for, but she's been missing for probably over a year now. It's just the circumstances are really strange, and I know that missing people, missing persons, I know that happens everywhere, and I know it's a really sensitive topic, because for all of these people like me and you out there, I've never had a family member or anybody that I love go missing.
No.
So I don't know how I would feel about that, but I would imagine
it wouldn't feel great.
Yeah, I would imagine if I'm sitting there listening to a podcast and a couple people talk about all their theories when they haven't been there.
They don't know any other circumstance. It's easy for us to sit back, look at what little bit of details are given.
Yeah.
And who knows if that's twisted or not with all the media outlets being so trustworthy.
Yeah.
I don't trust local news anymore.
You can't, dude. You can't trust any media source at all.
I will say this. I cannot remember the website now. That one guy that wants everyone to judge for themselves about what media outlet is giving them the truth. And that's it's changethenews.org or
oh yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but basically you can look at the liberal side of things, the conservative side of things, people who don't line up with either side,
yeah, and
kind of make your own judgments about it. So one thing isn't being pushed,
right?
In specific, well, not this party's agenda or this party's agenda, because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like either side. I don't like the way our political system is going. Previous administrations and current administrations, I don't like what's happening with our country. But that being said, this is a Missing 411 podcast.
It is.
And I'm not going to get off on some radical tangent here.
Well, so, we'll get...
I would describe as... My theory, if I was saying I'm closing this case, which I can't close it, but I would just say, if I could, I would go into... I would have to say the amnesia, because that's, to me, that's most logical, or that is just outright not true.
But what if the dude is onto something? What if he is? What if there are some form of alternate universes out there? Okay? And hear me out just for a second. I've listened, and I don't have anything to play here or whatever. I'll send them to you later on, and we're going to get to an episode of CERN. But I've listened to interviews, and maybe they're all a bunch of boo hockey, as you like to say. Maybe they are. But I would believe that sometimes Nobel Prize winning physicists and scientists and all these different people in these fields of particle physics and quantum physics and all these different people, the brightest of the bright minds that CERN employs. I don't believe that they would just sit down and decide to give interviews and be like, I'm just going to pull everybody's leg on this one. I just don't see that.
I think that would be hilarious.
I think it would be hilarious, and if I was a quantum physicist, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah, I would.
That's exactly what I would do. But these guys aren't exactly the most humorous people in the world. It's like all cut and dry, like super nerd dork, no social. There's nothing there. Okay, it's like a robot.
That's how we feel about physicists, damn it.
It's like a robot sitting there talking. Okay,
You heartless bastards.
It's like a robot. So
this coming from a ginger.
When these guys are saying, things like, hey, we found possibilities and probabilities of being able to, communicate with people in another universe or dimension, or that's what quantum computing is. That's what they're saying, is the information is being gathered there and collected from somewhere we don't know about, a different dimension that we don't know about. So, if the last episode, when we were talking about the Bible, speaking of spiritual realms and heavenly places, what is that describing if not a alternate universe? If we believe in a heaven and a hell, what is that if not an alternate universe? I believe that it's there, but I can't see it.
Is it an alternate universe or an alternate state of being?
Is an alternate universe just an alternate state of being?
I would imagine.
What if every
it should be
choice?
the same being.
What if every choice that you made throughout your life, the other version of you in that choice went on down some alternate version?
I bet he has hair.
I bet he's way better looking. Way better looking.
No way.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is. I'm not saying this is for a fact. I'm just saying that I've listened to interviews from people at CERN, some of the smartest of the smartest minds in the world, and they seem to believe in the possibility of alternate dimensions and universes, and maybe even portals.
Well, when they present that to us and show, hey, there's an alternate universe. Here's how we know. Here's how you're going to know that we're telling the truth.
It's like the upside down on Stranger Things.
Yeah.
What reference did they give? The ant? Was it an ant walking on a tightrope? I think it was an ant. They said if a person is walking that tightrope, there's only one reality. You can only see forward or turn your head and see backward. But an ant would see forward, backward, be able to be on the sides, be able to be on the bottom, be on the upside down. That's where it comes from. So I don't know. I don't get choked on my cord. I don't know. I'm just throwing a possibility out there. Maybe it's just amnesia. Maybe the dude was just making it up.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Those are the two most logical.
Maybe interdimensional portal jumping Bigfoot is coming and swiping people.
Maybe.
Maybe UFOs are showing up to snatch these people up. That's all other theories that I've heard in this missing 411 stuff.
I'm sure there's just doozies out there.
I actually listened to a story, or read a story the other day. This little girl, I forget where it was, I don't remember her name, but she had been missing for a couple days, and she said that she remembered being, she was found later on, and she was healthy, which, praise God, that's awesome. But when they found her recounting the situation, she said that she was on a hillside, standing on a bank, and she could see the entire search party, and she was screaming at them, you know, here I am, here I am, here I am. But nobody ever heard her. So, what's that?
I don't know. That's nuts. That's what that is. Again, it'd be one of those things where there's no, it's not amnesia. I'm just going to have to say, you think you were dreaming what time you were passed out?
Maybe. Maybe.
You knew there was a search party looking for you. Were you having a dream?
I don't know. What about the accounts of, you know, these kids that we've read about and talked about too, that go missing? And one of these was actually local. I'm thinking it was somewhere in East Tennessee or Eastern Kentucky that this happened. It was a couple years ago. And I tried to find the article last night, but I couldn't come across it. Like, I couldn't figure out exactly where that was. But I'm gonna punch that dog in the face.
You forgot we had a camera, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Oh, punch that dog in the face. But he,
we don't kill dogs, you do.
we don't. But if you do hear a dog barking in the background, I apologize. Must be hungry. But anyway, speaking of dog, I guess it's just a weird time to start. Like one of these cases, it was actually this little boy that I'm getting ready to speak of. He said that a dog took care of him the whole time, and it actually ate his hat. Like, what's that? We're talking 2- and 3-year-old kids. Yeah, they have huge imaginations. But why say something like that? Why say something? Why say that a dog did come around? He protected me. He kept me safe. It was below zero a couple of these nights, and I was in a diaper, but I'm totally fine. My diaper's clean. Everything. I'm not dirty. A dog took care of me, but he did eat my hat. And according to his folks, he was wearing a hat that they couldn't find. I mean, I don't know how to account for a lot of these details. And everybody else is like, oh, yeah, cute story. But was it? Was it just a cute story?
Yeah, if he was in diapers, I'm gonna...
Yeah, we're talking 2- and 3-year-old kid in diapers. That was missing, I think, for 2 or 3 days.
He ate his hat.
Yeah. And see, that was a detail that I remembered. I was keeping up with that account and got into Missing 411 around the same time. So for me, it was like, holy crap! You know, this fits a lot of these things that this Missing 411 is all about. I don't know, dude. It's just, it's crazy. To me, it's crazy.
Who's next?
Next, we have a Canadian man named Danny Philippidis, or Philippidis, something like that. In February 2018, a Canadian man named Danny Philippidis was on a ski trip with his friends in New York. This is the one we've talked a lot about. It was around 2:00 p.m. and they had been skiing for hours. They were getting ready to go into the lodge, and Danny said that he wanted to go on one more run down the mountain before their lunch break. By 4:00 p.m., 2 hours later, Danny was failing to return any calls or texts, and the friends were concerned. They began searching for him, and after being unable to find him, they told the employees at the lodge that he was missing. A team of 130 people scoured the mountain without finding him. 6 days later, Philippidis' wife received a phone call. She didn't recognize the number, and it sounded far away and staticky. It was Danny's voice. He was incoherent and confused, and then hung up the phone. She called the number back and pleaded with him to call 911 for help, so he did. He had no idea where he was, and he just described his surroundings. When the paramedics finally found him, he was still wearing all of his ski gear and in need of medical assistance. he was holding a brand new iPhone and someone had cut his hair. Somehow, he ended up in Sacramento, California. Shout out to our listeners in Sacramento. At the airport terminal car rental depot. He was 3,000 miles away from where he disappeared. He couldn't remember how he got there, and he had no idea what day it was. When he learned where he was and how long people had been looking for him, he got very overwhelmed and emotional. The leading theory is that he was kidnapped in the back of a big rig truck, but no proof of this has ever surfaced.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
So that would be one of those deals where you're not really going to follow anybody's tracks because there's so many people in a ski lodge.
Of course.
So he could have been kidnapped. That's the most
That's the leading
one
theory. That's the leading theory. Is that he was kidnapped, drugged in some way, shape, or form. And that is another detail in some of these cases. It's not one of the main one that classifies the missing 411 title, but it is a detail that's out there. Is that in a lot of these missing people, David Police has found that there are cases of high levels of GHB, which is the date rape drug. Now, your body naturally makes GHB, but these levels are like so far higher that people think that, or David Politis thinks that some of these people have been drugged in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So
could have been his friends.
It could have been. It could have been. I just don't understand how, even for 6 whole days, you don't have any recollection. Because even people that are, this date rape party drug or whatever, and assaulted afterwards or whatever, they can still give partial accounts of what happened. It may be fuzzy and confusing, and maybe not everything matches up exactly, but they still have some recollection of what's going on.
Maybe you're on a steady dosage of that stuff, though.
Maybe.
I've had some encounters with Crown Apple that there's no GHB involved. Just okay.
Maybe. I don't know. To me, it's a crazy story.
I don't remember drinking the bottle and sticking it in my ass, but okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm just saying, there are sometimes you don't remember details.
That's true. That is true.
And he could have been drugged.
He could have been.
I think, being incoherent when he called, when he was able to remember the number.
Right.
Because obviously it wouldn't be on speed dial in a brand new iPhone.
Well, now, it could be one of those cases, too, that this guy was like, maybe he was into some greasy stuff and decided that he needed to get to California for whatever kind of transaction or whatever's going on, and he just decides to make up this whole story. That's a possibility. And I actually believe that one. This is one that I believe is more probable than anything. Is that this guy was just into some junk. He was like, I've got to get to California. He gets there by whatever way necessary. Maybe he hops in the back of a big rig or whatever. Or maybe he meets up with this truck driver or whoever and it's like, look, I'll give you this money. Don't ever say anything about. Maybe he just gave him a different name or a different,
Why did he need medical attention?
I don't know. That's the part that I don't know. Maybe he did that on purpose. Maybe he just decided, I gotta make this look good, and maybe he Jim Carrey in Liar Liar'd himself and went in the bathroom and just beat the crap out of himself and decided, to make it look good. Maybe part of this transaction was a brand new iPhone that he had that nobody could account for. Maybe maybe something didn't go out exactly go the way that he expected it, so he had already changed his appearance in case somebody was on his tail or on his trail. You know, there's a lot of ways with that one that this dude sounds shady.
The haircut was there.
Yeah, this dude just sounds shady.
Didn't they track the cell phone model number, SN number, and all that to who bought it?
You would think so. I mean, that's the part that I was talking to my wife about the other day.
What store sold it?
Like, you would, was it on a plan? Yeah. Was, you know, who purchased this phone? What's, you know, there has to be some kind of information that you can get from the purchase of this phone. I would think.
Yeah. Especially if it's on a contract.
I mean, I can call Verizon right now and figure out everything that I need to know about my phone, when it was bought, when this plan was done, when that did whatever, you know. I don't know. For me, this is one that...
That one's fishy.
Yeah, it's super fishy. Now, I may be totally wrong.
Yeah, this could be one of those moments where the other one was fake and that we're more apt to believe, and then this guy's telling the truth the whole time.
Maybe.
Got his ass kicked and thrown in the back of a truck.
Yeah, you may be right. And that's the crazy thing about all these cases is, I mean, there's 1,000 different possibilities. Like, we don't know anything for sure.
No.
Nothing. And that's the nutty part about all of it, to me. Here's another, not really a theory, but it's something that's being thrown out there. Excuse me. Is that in around a lot of these areas, a lot of these national park areas, and these areas that people do go missing, there's also some form of cave system. Now, we know the U.S., just Mammoth Cave alone, like there's an entrance in Kentucky. From what they have discovered of that cave system, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles, and some form or parts of it leading to New York, on out toward the Midwest. You know, it's hundreds of miles cave system. That's another thing that's been thrown out there, that around a lot of these areas, there's some form of cave system that's close by. So that may be another, you know, maybe it is Bigfoot. Maybe he's swiping these guys and hitting the cave systems. Maybe.
Yeah, could be, huh?
I mean, we don't know. I want Bigfoot to be real.
Homo erectus, coming up out of the cave. You seen the crudes?
Yeah.
They hide in the caves.
They do.
Gotta be safe.
That's just because they're scared of everything on the outside.
Well, wouldn't you look at us and be like, what the?
Yeah, I would. What's his name? Or Grug? I think Grug is the dad's name. Yeah. I love Grug. He's awesome.
But, to me, that guy...
Yeah, that one to me is a little fishy.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to look up his more information on him. As far as, does he have any arrests in Canada?
Yeah. Something's going on there with that, I believe. Personally. Okay. We got one more account that we're going to go with, and then we'll just talk about some, you know, whatever. But in 1952, a 2-year-old boy named Keith Parkins went missing from his home in Ritter, Oregon in the middle of winter. He had been playing outside with his jacket on, but he was far from equipped to spend the night outside alone. His family and a local search party looked for him immediately. They could follow his tiny footprints up to a point before they completely stopped. So the footprints completely stopped. There were no other animal or adult tracks nearby. 19 hours later, they found Keith. 19 hours later. He was about 15 miles away. He had taken his jacket off and was laying face down in the snow on a frozen pond. Keith was alive. When they asked him why he had run away and how he survived, he said he didn't remember. A survival expert named Les Stroud, you know, most everybody knows Les Stroud, survival man, filmed a segment for the Missing 411 documentary to demonstrate just how impossible it would have been for 2-year-old Keith to walk so far on his own, especially at night. To this day, no one is sure exactly how Keith survived the night, and we may never know.
Where was this at?
Ritter, Oregon, in the middle of winter.
Bald eagle.
You think so?
Solved it.
You think so?
His track stopped.
Yes.
There's no other tracks around.
Yes.
Bald eagles are massive.
Huge.
2-year-old doesn't stand a chance. Picks him up. He fights the bald eagle. They get entangled in a death spin. Baby wins with a thumb to the eye. Goes down to the ground. Bald eagle's like, fuck that. That hurt. Keith's jacket comes off in the process. Lands face first on the pond. Disoriented. Concussion. Can't remember what happened. Next case.
You solved that right then.
Yeah.
Just like, boom.
Told you, I'm focused. Just in case you guys would like to sponsor us, stay focused with 3G.
Could a bald eagle actually pick up a 2-year-old child?
I don't know, maybe not a bald eagle, a golden eagle. They're from that part of the country. They could. They are massive.
So you think that it could actually pick up a 2-year-old child and fly 15 miles with this said 2-year-old child? You think so?
No.
You really think so?
I did.
Wow. You may have just figured that out.
I did.
You may have just solved that. We may have to send this theory in.
I think we should.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter probably at this point because...
Plus it's 1952. What was the bald eagle population then?
I don't know.
It had to be massive before we started shooting them like morons.
So in 1952, he was 2 years old, which would make him 70, almost 72, right? So there's a good chance this guy's still alive.
Yeah. Probably just as confused as them. Probably from the head injury that gave him the concussion.
But wouldn't a 2-year-old be able to...
I figure the 2-year-old would just hang there and cry if they were picked up by a bald eagle.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, I know there's not a whole lot of language there at 2 years old. But couldn't he have, like, you know, said something to let him know something?
Well, if the head injury caused him to forget.
Well, yeah, that's true. Did it say his jacket was missing?
No, it was off.
His jacket was off. So what if, going with your theory, what if this eagle did pick up this child by the jacket, and just so happened that when this child fell, he just wiggled his way out of his jacket. Then the child fell, and then the eagle dropped the jacket.
I think that's what happened.
We may have solved this. We may have solved it. Or he stumbled into a portal.
Oh.
Man, you never know, okay? You never know. Portals are out there everywhere.
Maybe that's how the eagle did it.
You keep
Flew
laughing.
into a portal.
You keep laughing until one of these days you happen to find yourself stumbling into a portal entrance. Where's Ryan? We don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows where Ryan went. And then, my friend, on our next episode, after we find you, I want to hear everything there is to hear about portals.
I can't remember. It's very small details. I heard banjo music.
There were high levels of GHB in my system.
I got disoriented. I think there were pigs around.
Pigs around. You know what? I was going to try to play some audio of a different case.
Oh yeah.
And it's not technically classified as missing 411. It's just weird. It's a missing person case that's just super weird. And the dude's name, I don't have all the details of it because I was just going to play the audio, but I don't have it set up on the computer. And I don't know how it would pick up here and pick up on the camera and all that as well, so I'll just talk a little bit about it. The dude's name was Henry McCabe. Okay, he was some kind of spokesman for something. I don't know, he's a professional speaker of some sort. You know, kind of like us, professional speakers. Professional.
You heard it here first, folks.
And only here. So, the dude had been out drinking with his buddies. Okay? A fishy start to any conversation or any situation. And his buddies also dropped him off at a gas station instead of taking him home, which is also weird and fishy. But his wife, later on that night, got a voicemail. It was like not night, it was super early in the morning. I think it was like 2 o'clock when his buddies said they dropped him off at a gas station. So his wife gets a voicemail on her phone, and in the background of the voicemail, it's from Henry's number. It's the background. It's like a bunch of these clicks and pops and these kind of animalistic sounds and grunts and moans, and it's just it's super strange. I wish that I could play the audio on here because just explaining it doesn't have the effect of actually hearing it. It's just strange. It's not like anything that you would just encounter. You know, to me, it sounds like the dude was, I don't even know. I was going to say standing beside like some kind of predator exhibit at the zoo, but there's too much weird like static electronic sounding junk in the background, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, she hears this voicemail, and it's like, I don't remember, like 20-30 seconds long, something like that. And at the end of the voicemail, you can hear somebody's voice that it doesn't really sound like Henry McCabe's voice, but somebody's voice says, "Stop it." And then the call ends, drops. They found his body at a reservoir, body of water, a couple days later.
I'm assuming he didn't make it.
He did not make it. He was dead. The audio was just, it was super weird, man. It was so weird. Like, I don't know how to even describe or explain that the audio of that. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So, for that situation, what's your theory?
I don't know, I'd have to listen to it, but that's really weird. Plus, we know something of it had to be real if they found his body. Deceased body.
Yeah.
So, some part of that, something was going on.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously, he stumbled away from where he was supposed to be and ended up dead. They said that, I think the final result for the death or whatever was drowning.
Huh.
So I don't know that. And that's the thing with a lot of these is they decide that it's drowning. In a lot of these cases, that these bodies are found in water, that's their definite, or their, what am I trying to think of? Their final conclusion of the autopsy or whatever. The coroner says, boom, it was a drowning. Which, in places that have already been searched, that these people have not been there for, I don't know. It's just, it's weird to me. It's weird to me. And again, I know people go missing all the time. But it's just these certain details that get thrown in there to classify them as missing 411 cases that leave me so puzzled. You know, that, you know, I randomly, like, around a large granite deposit. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it's one of those, isn't like quartz crystals, isn't that like associated with granite?
I think so.
So if that was one of those, like, you know, either spiritual or energy portal kind of things, you know, somebody might say, well, there was a high influx of quartz there,
Yeah.
so it may, you know, one of those kind of.
Those people should be punished. Crystals, quartz, minerals.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know. Again, the energy of the earth, man. The energy of the earth. Ley lines. The energy of the earth.
Yeah, starting to catch on. It's all coming together now. Nazi ghosts.
We are slowly transitioning. We've talked about the paranormal in the last episode and missing 411, which you would think are two totally different topics. But it all comes back to...
No, says the crazies. It's the German ghost. They have everything to do with it. Was this Parker of origin? German descent?
Probably.
What, probably. Parker sounds as white as you can get.
I mean, I think it was McCabe. I don't know where Parker's coming from.
The little boy.
Oh! I don't know. I don't know what Parker would be. Doesn't really sound German.
And I can tell you this, there were black Nazis. Right?
Yeah.
Because when Germany invaded most of Africa,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, they
those
recruited.
guys were forced to fight just like most
Yeah,
Germans
absolutely.
in that day.
It's the same thing as the Civil War. You know, there was a lot of
So they probably wouldn't have German descent, however, ties to the Nazi Party.
correct.
McCabe could have ties to the Nazi Party.
Could have. It could have. Well, see, the whole thing with this here is it's making me super paranoid because I am super intelligent.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
crazy intelligent.
the German descent,
Kaiser.
Kaiser.
You don't get any more German than the name.
If your last name is spelled Kiesar, I'd be like,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah, you're just
You're
just a
next on the
reincarnated
list.
leader. Yeah.
Straight out of Adolf's loins.
Let's hope not. Let's hope I am not straight out of Adolf's loins.
It's Kaiser.
That's one of those things that I don't think anybody really wants to trace their lineage back to. Like, oh yeah, Adolf was my great-great-great-great-grandfather.
That's my claim to fame.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody's trying to do that.
No.
This video is either unavailable or not supported in this browser. Okay, so
You know,
I had the audio pulled up for the Henry McCabe thing, but it's
not going to do it.
not available.
You know, on that kind of topic, though, you're talking about nobody want to be associated with Hitler. However, Genghis Khan is like a god to most Mongolians. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen the statue
Yep.
they had in, like,
Do you